Preseason Diaries, day 2. Let's get into it. So thank you all for the super positive feedback on how you sort of want these done. I wanted to record something there, but I just ran out of time, so I came home. You'll start seeing the footage soon, and any footage that isn't going to be included while I'm talking will be right at the end. I'll include all the footage that I took just as a compilation. But this was one of the days where it was pretty much a full squad, and it was really, really good to see. Lots more senior players, Steele, Schultz, Cameron, Howe, McStay, Checkers, Moore, Membry, Houston. So we saw Membry and Houston in the black and white, well, predominantly black because there was no stripes today. But saw them for the first time in Collingwood colours, which was incredible, and they look good. We'll talk a little bit about them later. I've written some notes for a bunch of players and just what I observed. So let's get into it. First thing I want to talk about is Jacob Ryan winning the 2 kilometre time trial for the years 1 to 4. He just blitzed them, right? He was leading the pack for pretty much all of it. And then it was Ed Allen and Ned Long. Ned Long, I forgot how tall he was. So Ed Allen's 6'3", and I think Ned Long is about the same. And Ned Long is huge. He's a big boy. And Ed Allen looks incredible. So those three were the top 3 in the 2 kilometre time trial. Jacob Ryan is really eyeing that halfback spot. He just has to have a clear run with injuries. I think we talked about him in the previous video. So that halfback spot, there's a lot of people vying for it. You know, you look at TJ, Will Parker, maybe Will Parker could probably move onto a wing as well. So that wing and half forward spot is the one that you're going, okay, who's going to get this spot? But Jacob Ryan did nothing wrong winning that 2 kilometre time trial. So if he has a clear run in the VFL, we might see him a little bit more in the senior side. One thing I do want to mention about the years 1 to 4, and you know, you're looking at Demetia, you're looking at Ed Allen, is Hayden Skipworth, who is taking over as coach for these next few weeks. So Craig McRae has handed the reins to him. He was so close to winning that West Coast job. He comes back with a wealth of knowledge, spent a lot of time in America, sharpening his coaching skills as well, which is really cool. He came out and said this.
So we need some of these guys to really come on and go past some of our experienced players.
So that indicates to me, like, I know we're sort of all in for a premiership this year and possibly next year, but the Pies aren't going to leave any stone unturned. If Ed Allen is playing better than Steele Sidebottom, if, you know, Ned Long is playing better than Tom Mitchell, if XYZ is playing better than Scott Pendlebury, these guys are going to get opportunities. They're not going to be based on names anymore. Like, oh, Pendlebury needs to play because he's the best, even though he's a little bit slow at the moment, or he's not hitting targets, or Steele Sidebottom needs to play. No, if they're playing bad, they're going to get dropped into the VFL. So that's incredible to hear, because we need these guys to start getting senior opportunities, and this is the year for it. Something else that I liked was that Matthew Boyd was really emphasizing tackling and how, you know, where our eyes should be, how to get the ball properly in a tackle, how to grab people in a tackle. So there was a lot of emphasis on tackling today, which was really good to see, because there was a lot of times where other teams would just break through our tackles, and we were really good for it. But then we kind of dropped off a little bit. So hopefully that is an area of improvement this summer, and we go in with bigger bodies and laying absolute monster tackles on opposition players. So now we'll get into a couple of the individual player notes. I want to shout out Perryman. Very vocal when he's out on the training track, and almost like he's a leader out there, which is really good to see. So telling the younger players where to set up and stuff like that. You love to see it in only his second session for the Pies. So that's incredible. And again, was training with the mids. But like I said, these guys, well, Collingwood in general, like flexibility. So he probably will go back a little bit, but predominantly he's going to be a mid. Dan Houston, Skipworth came out and said that, you know, Houston can be used in the centre as well, like they use Jack Crisp in the centre and off half back, like they use Nick Dacos forward, middle and back, and like they use Lipinski forward, middle and back as well. So expect Dan Houston to be predominantly off the half back line, but if we need him, he'll go through the centre, because what does my note say here? Houston is so quick getting the 1-2 as he runs through the middle. It was just impressive to see in his first session back. And he didn't have to come back for another 2 weeks. So he comes back early. All of these senior players are coming back early because they're absolutely hungry. So which is really, really good to see. But Houston, we've said it so many times. It's like having Nick Dacos in the back line. So we got Houston off the half back line, Nick Dacos in the middle, and Houston was just hitting targets left, right, and center. So that was just chef's kiss. I can't believe that we brought in a 2-time All-Australian, and it's just ridiculously good dealing by Justin Lepage. So after they did like fundamental skills, they went into full ground play, and it was about 80% intensity. And I liked what I saw, but again, you got to sort of preface preseason, or you got to keep it in the back of your mind that there's not really any pressure, right, from players or like opposition or anything like that, right? So it's not preseason games or anything like that. So you can only go on what you see and the pressure that the other team or our team sort of brings when it's the black team and the white team, the white jumper and black jumper team. So they were going at about 80% intensity, but I loved the ball movement, much of the same that I could tell from last season. But that quickness, emphasis with those halfbacks running through and hitting Membry and hitting Mason Cox and hitting Myercheck was just really good to see as well. A group that I was very keen on watching was how the forward line operated. Now, we've got the M3, the big three, the triple M, whatever you want to call them, McStay, Myercheck, and Membry. Myercheck comes back from that pec injury. He could have, again, came back early. All these senior players coming back early. He looks unimpeded by that injury. He looks ready to go, fit and firing. And he was working really well in tandem with McStay and with Tim Membry. And with Membry, he's about, 188 centimeters or something. So he's not that big, tall forward. But when you have those three, and we talked about it in the Myercheck video, when you have those three players all together in the forward line, Jamie Elliott doesn't have to play tall anymore. He can be that roving forward like we're so used to him. Bobby Hill can just play his small forward role. Lockie Schultz is just going to be tackling every single bastard that's in that forward line or in that the defenders from the opposition. So that really takes the pressure off our smaller players. They were using Bo McCreary today, running into from the wing into that half forward and hitting targets. So expect to see Bo doing a bit more of midfield work, wing work like he was doing last season. But I expect that to be ramped up because that guy is so quick, and he was hitting targets kind of like Dan Houston, just hitting targets left, right, and center. But in saying that, there was no indication that they're going to send Myercheck down back. That three-pronged attack, that three-pronged trident attack is going to be chef's kiss. Again, it was just good to see that there was a little bit of rotation. Ash Johnson was down there. Mason Cox was down there as well. One guy that's impressed me over these last 2 days, Ed Allen has impressed me, Will Parker is looking good as well, is Iliro Smith. So yesterday it was more, just real fundamentals, just smaller stuff. But today he was running with the forwards and doing a little bit of ruck work. But what I love about Smith is he's obviously really tall, but when he's marking the ball, he is taking it at the highest point possible. He looks impeccable in that forward line when he's running and leaping at the ball. So this is going to be a really big year for Smith in the VFL now that he's got a preseason under his belt, now that he knows the game plan. And I dare say we see him debut sometime this season. I don't know when, but I dare say that we see him debut because he looks the absolute goods. And I reckon he debuts before Oscar Steen debuts for the Pies. All in all, I thought it was an absolute fantastic training session with most of the squad back. Some of them are still in America. Maynard didn't train, Mitchell didn't train, but they trained yesterday, so they're probably, giving their body a rest. Because remember, again, I've said it 12 times, 2 weeks is when the senior players are all expected to return, so they can take their days off and stuff. But it was good to see the older heads coming back in with younger guys. Steel Sidebottom, 17. This is his 17th preseason. Are you absolutely kidding? That's insane that he comes back early and he's still looking good. Steel looked good today. But it was good to see Tim Membry finally in the black and white, Dan Houston finally in the black and white. We're getting a taste of what's to come, and it was a good second day. Now, I won't be at Friday because I've got to take, I keep looking this way because the boys are there, my dogs, so I've got to take them to the vet on Friday, so they won't be there for Friday's session. I don't know if I'm going to do a video about it because I like doing the video when I'm there because I can take those notes and stuff like that. So, but anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think is going to happen going forward in this preseason? Like, who is going to fully, what do they have to do to fully impress you to start in the best 23? And I've still got to do my best 23 video. That'll come out probably next week after the draft or something like that. But until then, like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets. And until next time, double shackers. I'll swoop you later.
Yeah, bro.